questions, bring your faith, bring all the mistakes you've made. There's no need for hiding here. Bring your joy and bring your fear. Bring your gender, bring your skin, bring your triumphs, bring your sin. There's no need for hiding here. In Christ we are all brought near. You are safe, you are home. You don't have to be alone. All you are and all you'll be. You're my chosen family in this common sanctuary. Bring your partners, bring yourself, culture, trauma, language, health. Bring your disability, your complicated, beautiful history. You are safe, you are home. You don't have to be alone. All you are and all you'll be. You're my chosen family in this common sanctuary. All are welcome, all are wanted. There's a place for you too. At this table, this sacred altar, there's always more room. We are safe, we are whole. We don't have to be alone. All we are and all we'll be. We are chosen family. We are safe, we are whole. We don't have to be alone. All we are and all we'll be. We are chosen family in this common sanctuary. Welcome. We're glad you're here at the Quest this morning. We have a special morning planned for all of us. My name is Matt Nightingale, and I'm one of the co-pastors here. Will you pray with me? God, thank you for this morning. Thanks for this opportunity to gather with our family, our chosen family here at the Quest. Those of us who are in the building, those of us who are joining online, thank you. I pray that in this moment, each of us can know that we are truly welcome, that you welcome us as we are, that we don't have to hide or pretend, that we can come with all of our identities, thoughts, feelings, experiences, and be welcomed into the loving presence of our Creator. God, I pray that this morning we will experience you somehow in a way that is meaningful for each of us as individuals and together as a community of faith. Thank you. We look forward to what you will do today. In the name of Jesus, and in the name of all your other many beautiful names we pray. Amen. Come, you been wounded, all you who've lost hope, come you who are longing for what you do not know. Come you hungry for justice, aching for heaven on earth. Come you who've been tossed aside, don't remember what you're worth. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are. Come you who've been cast out, all you who've been shamed. Come you who are looking for that mystery you can't name. Come you crying for mercy, hoping for peace on earth. Come you carrying questions, all you who've been so hurt. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are. Oh, you misfits and prophets, and you sinners and saints. Oh, you broken and needy, weird and weary and faint. All who seek to simply open their eyes. All who need to find a safe place to cry. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are, come you weary, come and lay your burdens down. Come as you are, bring your hopes, bring your doubts and your scars. Come as you are. Come as you are.
Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for being here this morning. Tony Gapastione, one of the co-pastors of The Quest, and today is going to be a special morning because we have a short film and discussion that we're going to share. I'm going to invite you, if you are here in the building, to come a little closer so you can be close to these TV monitors, the screens, because during the film, the back screen here, although it's our best and biggest, it can be a little washed out because of lights and the projector, which needs to be replaced. So your best viewing will be at these monitors. Awesome. So letting you know before we show our movie that tomorrow night there is the contemplative spirituality group. So anybody who'd like to be a part of that, you always know, go to wearethequest.org. You can find all the Zoom links and all the information to all the things that we're doing on a weekly and regular basis there. It's a great way for you to connect, and you can be anywhere, obviously, because it's Zoom. So all of you who are watching at home and online, we encourage you every other week. That's available to you. Hiking Club is going to be Saturday at 9 a.m. It's going to be a moderately difficult 2-hour, 15-minute hike at Mount Burdell. So Irma's got a big smile and thumbs up over there. If you want to hike with her at this moderately difficult pace, talk to her. It's second Saturdays at 9 a.m. And then in a couple weeks, so it was 2 weeks from today, we have our congregational church business meeting where we'll be sharing a little bit of information about future stuff. We'll be taking a vote, welcoming new members, as well as some new leadership team members. So if you are a member of the Quest on our official paper document, you have been receiving, or you will have received an email saying it's time to re-up that commitment, and raise your hand, say I'm in, and then we'll take a vote. It will only be in person, not available online, okay? So Sunday, May 21st, it's 11:30, right after our in-person gathering here. And then giving every month, every month we try to hit 10,000. In April we hit $8,434. Give it up. We almost reached the goal. So thank you, the tiny mighty Quest. In your giving and your generosity, it is showing, and it helps us to do really cool things like we're going to do this morning. So if you want to give today, we never pass plates. There are boxes in the back. You can put them in those wooden boxes we call joy boxes. You can give at wearethequest.org/giving. You can do Venmo, We Are The Quest, or good old-fashioned checks to 1461 South Nevada Boulevard, Novato, California, 94947. And if you have any questions about doing things beyond giving, sometimes we're not able to give financially, and that's okay. You can help serve, or provide our refreshments. Who provided refreshments today, by the way? Mark Clark. Give it up for Mark Clark. Thank you for the juice and the coffee and the tasty bites. So we don't have popcorn, but we have muffins and fruit. So you can get that today. Can you welcome with me Alexandra Miles, who is the producer and actor up here for Blackbird. Alexandra, come up real quick. I want you to do an introduction while our production team gets the film ready. We're going to show this. And Alexandra was kind enough to also let it be available to our online community too. So if you are online today, please stay with us. Usually we've been doing this first Sunday of the month thing where we do an in-person conversation and we shut off the cameras, but we're going to keep them on today because we have my guest here. So Alexandra, please introduce yourself and tell us just a quick little introduction to Blackbird.
Sure. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm so excited to be here. I am the producer and actor of Blackbird, which is a short film about based on my own past story, but it is a narrative film, so it is not a documentary. But the themes are based on truth, based on an experience that I had back in 2018 when I entered an eating disorder treatment center, and the story kind of depicts not just the treatment center or my experience or the disorder, but it really depicts the story of connection between myself and a young woman who I met there who has really changed my life. So this story is kind of to just show audiences, show others the importance of connection with each other, and in connecting with each other, how that helps you connect with yourself and heal and recover from whatever you might be struggling with.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexandra. So with that, turn off your phones and cellular devices, homing pigeons, fax machines. Sit back, and it's a 25-minute short film, and we'll follow that with a discussion and talk back with Alexandra. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Alexandra. Yeah.
Don't even try. I'm Noah. Like the Ark. You got a name? Because you look like a Chantel. I get it. This place can be a bit rough.
Backwards and step on the scale.
It's not as bad as it looks.
Next. Backwards and step on the scale. Next. Turn around backwards and step on the scale. Next. Turn around backwards and step on the scale. Next. Turn around backwards and step on the scale.
What did you do? How could you do this to me? I'm your mother. Just close your eyes, baby. Don't you dare think about leaving.
Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that if you've invited someone to Visitor's Day, you must inform the front desk by the end of the day today. Unaccounted guests will not be admitted. Now, Mark, we agreed last time that you'd kick us off.
Yeah, but who's gonna kick me?
Your own time, Mark. Welcome back to you.
Wait, why am I holding everything?
Alma.
For those of you who haven't had the opportunity yet, I'd like to introduce Alma. Is there anything you'd like to say to the group? Maybe share where you're from or your favorite... Alma. Another time then. There's no one reason why we're here. But wouldn't it be nice if there was? A common enemy we could turn against. A bad habit we could break. Just like that, that'd be it.
Alma? Alma? Alma?
Stop! Stop!
I need to put some stuff in your drawers on Visitor's Day. That cool? My mom hates messes, and I totally ran out of space on my side of the room. My dad'll be more pissed that I never got rid of this. Your parents coming, Blackbird? Refuse to talk to me, and that's your name. Blackbird. Love it, hate it, doesn't matter to me. Yeah. So Alma likes poetry. Blackbird staring at me, so I'm playing this song. She looks like she wants to kill me, and that's okay. Maybe one day she'll tell me to stop, but I'll keep charging, 'cause I'm a rhino, rhino, rhino. Stop writing!
What did you do? How could you do this to me on your mother? Just close your eyes. Don't you dare think about leaving. All right, baby. Mama's here.
Stay.
Blackbird, you're gonna love my mom. Everyone says we're twins. I think I look more like my dad, except for the nose. He's got this big honker. Too bad no one's coming to see you. I mean, you just got here. Probably feels like you just saw everybody.
Don't you dare tell anyone.
Attention residents, please remember, if you have visitors coming today, they must park in the south lot. Again, all visitors must park in lot 2.
You have a visitor.
Alma.
I'll leave you, Pastor.
That treating you well? Alma? Alma? This what we're doing now? Keeping quiet? I was told I can't compliment you. Say that you look good, bad, whatever. Paige wanted to come today. Been asking about you. I didn't even know this place allowed visitors. Flashed them. Your mother was denied, parole. I figured you want to know. If it helps with this process or something. My mother used to have this saying. Say it to me every time I come to her upset about something. Isaac, she'd say, put your problems in a paper bag. And I stare at her, right? Completely confused. Put your problems in a paper bag. And then she'd say, now throw that bag in a pile of other bags. So I close my eyes and imagine this huge mound of paper bags, each filled with someone else's problems. Now say you go grab a paper bag, but you accidentally grab someone else's. Are you all right with taking someone else's problems? What if they're worse? Looking back, no, I should have asked why we couldn't ever just set the damn mound on fire. Take care, Oma.
They called, It's not like they just bailed. It's just like them. They would have shown up for my brother. I don't care. I don't. It's fine. He's always been the favorite. Which is fine. I mean, he was my favorite too. He had this way of making everything just better. And it's not like I was popular then like I am now. When shit would happen, like some girl at school would call me weird, or some other would invite everyone to her birthday party except for me. And I'd come home crying, like really upset and surprised for some reason. And he'd look at me with this. And take me up to his room and We'd lie on the carpet and stare at the ceiling and listen to whatever band he was into at the time, and we'd listen to it over and over again until I knew the words to every chorus. And he was smart. Like, really smart. He got a scholarship to state, so we went, and he'd call me every week and he'd tell me about the classes and the girls. And even though he was across the state, it felt like we were back on that carpet again. And I needed that, because we were freshmen. And shit was hard. Like, really hard. But even though we talked all the time, there were things that he didn't tell me. Because it's hard to imagine someone would want to leave. Especially when I'm still around to miss him. Really? Nothing? Just fucking talk. I know you can hear me.
Woe no more, all you wandering wanderers, finding home, all the wandering wanderers. For whatever life will unfold, be it ours to behold, releasing holds on life and holding on to letting go. for not all birds were taught to fly. Some took a dive and landed in the sky. And thoughts of me up there just seemed too high. Till came a time to choose the air or choose to die.
Watch me drown, take my hand and carry me back to the sand. I'll fly. I'll fly. Put a band-aid on my wings and listen to the feathers sing.
It is time to start the conversation. Thank you to Alexandra Miles for being with us today in person. And thanks for being patient with our sound issues. Our team was trying to get it all done. So tell us about the personal connection, why making a film was so important to you.
Well, thank you all so much, first of all, for being here, for going through that journey with me and sharing that with me. I'm sorry, repeat it.
Yeah, the personal story for you. I mean, you played Noah, right? Yeah. So Alexandra is Noah, yes. And you had a real life connection with a real Alma. So anything you want to share about that in the beginning of this movie?
Yeah. So I will start by sharing that the relationship between the two young women, the relationship between me and the original Blackbird, who I did call Blackbird. She had a tattoo of a blackbird on her neck, not on her wrist, but she did have one on her neck, and that kind of dynamic was very real. She was very, very quiet, didn't speak to a soul in treatment, and I was very, very outspoken and was trying to kind of help everybody and find out what was wrong with it or what everybody was struggling with and connect with everybody because I so desperately craved that connection that I wasn't feeling. And to Kendra, Kendra Williams is her name, and she'll occasionally come on tour with me, but that was the original Alma. And for her, she was so afraid to connect, didn't want to connect, so silence for her was a way of disconnection. Ironically, being outspoken, trying to kind of turn the issue outside of myself was my way of disconnection. So we were both trying to disconnect in whichever way we knew how, but that dynamic and that relationship was very real. And when I made the film, I also tried to make that visualization of treatment and that experience of treatment as real to the audience as I could make it, because for myself, when I went into treatment back in 2018, I think it was, I had no idea that world existed. I did not know what that was like. I personally ended up there for 8 months of my life within these walls, and it was my living nightmare that ended up being my best blessing. But I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what it was like. So to be able to share a little bit of that reality, I tried to make it as realistic as I could. But going back to the relationship, that relationship was very real, and we actually ended up connecting truly with poetry. She is a poet, and she wrote a poem about not wanting to go, not wanting to die, but not knowing how to live, which was something that at the time I really, really resonated with and connected with. We both kind of felt like we were numb, almost paralyzed in this space, and vocalizing that was so scary to both of us because in both of our communities we had not discussed mental health at all. We had not discussed feeling anxious, feeling depressed. We hadn't discussed an eating disorder, so we thought that we were alone. We thought it was foreign and not normal, so to speak. But what is normal? And so now we go around and we talk about this, and we just we try to make it okay to not be okay, and just letting people that look like us know, letting people that have similar experiences to us know, letting people in our communities know that it's okay to not be okay, and we can talk about it, and they're not alone. Nobody's alone.
That's a great moniker for what we try and aspire to as a church. And I know we do have somebody standing by. We'll bring them up in a minute or two. I'm going to ask a couple more questions. And if anyone has questions here, please let us know. But I wanted to ask you, because I'm curious, and I know a little bit about your faith background. This story, this narrative has a spiritual component to it. You have a faith background in the Jewish community. So talk a little bit about that and the themes in your own personal life connected to the movie, since we are a faith community, and how that really contributed to the story and the healing process.
Absolutely, yeah. So Blackbird, the original Blackbird, and in this film, the original Blackbird, her father was a pastor. She was faith-based, and in this film, of course, you have the presence as well. I was born and raised under the Jewish faith, and really,
a couple other people in here too.
Wow, yeah. Actually, and on a personal note, and I can connect with some of you all afterwards as well with this, but I have actually, I refound my faith with the church, and it was something that I never anticipated, never expected, but I did start to kind of find that connection again and find my faith again, but it was really tough growing up. It did impact me a lot. I think the lack of, for both of us, we experienced in that community both a lack of, I guess, discussion around it, but then we also found our faith to be part of our healing. So it was, honestly, it was integral we had to realize how important it was in our world, and it was something that we had to acknowledge. It's such a powerful force, faith, and I think, yeah, I don't know if that, there's a lot that I would like to go into with it, but
what I hear you saying too, interesting, is the faith community you were part of negatively impacted your ability to be honest and vulnerable, because your whole campaign is shed shame, right? So there's a lot of shame around that, I'm sure, in faith communities, and we all know that, and yet at the same time, finding a new way, or you kind of paving a new path for your faith, was part of the healing. That's kind of what I hear you saying.
And actually finding, for both of us, that when we were finally vocal within our faith communities, that others were actually responding back very positively and warmly, and helping to lift us up in that manner. And it was all about just being vulnerable and being able to say, you know, okay, I struggle with this, and the second we did that, we found connection within our community, within the faith-based community, but also in the other communities that we expressed it in. But it is kind of taking that leap of faith, if you will, and just saying, hey, this is me, and this is my, this is all of me. This is my honest me.
Yeah, that's great. I saw a question. Did you have a question, Jody?
Yeah. Thank you for that was great. On the topic of vulnerability, and because I've always been curious about this challenge, what do you think led you to, having these challenges, wanting to purge and over-encourage?
So the question for those who are on the online community is, what do you think were some of the challenges that led to that? I would also be curious, in the film, where there are some allusions to potentially some pain, some family of origin challenges, some pressures and things like that. Yeah, so what was it for you, if you're open to sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, my diagnosis was actually anorexia, whereas Blackbird, hers was bulimia. So we had different technical illnesses, but also different traumas and backgrounds. Trauma definitely had to do with it for me, but I really, for me personally, it was a lot of the way I began to internalize, I think at least, I think it was the way that I began to internalize messages towards myself based on certain ways that I was raised. I think as a young child, I was bullied. I had some difficulties, different kind of parenting difficulties growing up, and a struggled relationship with certain members of my family that I now have a wonderful relationship with. But as a child, I didn't know how to internalize some of the messages I was being given, and in turn, I think I started to think, well, I'm not enough, or I am too much, or I don't fit in. I don't fit with my Jewish community because I don't exactly know what I believe yet. I don't fit with my, I went to a Jewish private school and then a public school, and then the kids made fun of me there, so I don't fit in that community. I was told by my peers, you don't belong. So how do I change myself then to fit into this world where I feel like I don't? And when I kind of thought that I was receiving that message from my family, thought, and I say thought because that was never the intention, yet my child brain thought, well, they don't love me if I'm not the right thing, if I'm not enough. And so I began to tell myself that narrative, and it actually didn't affect me until I was around 22, but I continued to tell myself these messages, and then when I moved so far away from home, this is my belief, I think when I moved so far away from home and I didn't have my village, so to speak, my community, I no longer had also my church, synagogue, whatever it was. I didn't have my community. So now I'm in this world, and it happened to be Los Angeles was where it really started to develop for me, not because Los Angeles is bad by any means, but it wasn't my home. It wasn't my original home. So I came out there, and I thought that I was so happy, but I was so lost, and I didn't have connection. And I think I didn't yet have connection with myself where this was my home, so I wasn't ready. And so then I started to try to change myself in any way possible to just connect with others, to be liked. I so desperately wanted to be liked and connected because my heart was hurting and just wanted to be held and loved. And I have so much compassion for that now, and compassion for myself, but I think it can stem from so much, and a lot of times trauma can kind of trigger what may have been there, but trauma kind of is that moment of I don't know if release is the right word, but moment where all of a sudden you start to feel it, and you start to feel undeserving and not worth it, and that happens for a lot. That's the stem for a lot of people as well. Yeah.
I really appreciated in the film the moment when Alma gets into the bed with Noah, and this like connection, these two people in these two different worlds. And as you're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense how you framed that, as we all need to feel loved and wanted and enough. And I also appreciated that you included a man in that support group. As somebody who's identifies as male, I have body issues too. I was just in this community of people, all these dancers, and I was like feeling so, I was comparing myself, like, oh my gosh, I have this dad bod going on. And I made a comment to somebody like, I need to stop eating carbs. And this guy said, oh, it's not about, he kind of shut that down in a good way. It's not about eating carbs, it's about being healthy. You can eat whatever you want if you're healthy. I'm like, yeah, that's right, I know that, but I told myself a lie in that moment. So I really appreciated that.
And actually, really quickly to touch on that, and we can talk more on this potentially later or after the event, but doing these events, what surprised me the most, I speak to bringing this to a lot of underrepresented communities, because what we found, what Kendra and I both found, is that a lot of underrepresented communities experience a lot of silence and shame around discussing this issue. Which is not to say that all communities don't, but we really specifically found it in underrepresented communities. And one of the most surprising underrepresented communities, and the majority of the people who come up to me after events to chat with me, they're men. And I think our society does not discuss enough. Men do not have the safety to discuss enough mental health struggles, and specifically eating disorder struggles as well. Yeah.
If you're online and you have a question, please put it in the chat. We'll get to it. Go ahead, Cliff.
So I'm curious if you won't mind to share with us, perhaps during your 8 months of treatment, maybe there is a distinct breakthrough moment for you that you'd like to share, and then after you left the facility, perhaps in life, was there another breakthrough moment you'd like to share with us?
So for our online community, Cliff asked if you could share a breakthrough moment in your recovery community and after.
Yeah, I had a few of them, actually. Definitely a few of them. And it's funny, each time I had a breakthrough moment, I really thought, this is it, I'm turning around. And recovery is not linear. I will say, after treatment, I have struggled. I still struggle. Yesterday I struggled, today I didn't. I mean, it's really, really difficult. But yes, a few different breakthrough moments. One of them was that moment that I mentioned where I connected with Kendra on this, on that really deep and tough realization that we were both kind of in this limbo, paralyzed state. That was a breakthrough moment, that connection. I remember having this one moment. We were doing yoga therapy, and moving the body in certain positions can be very, very emotionally tied. And I actually remember having this moment where I was looking down at my body, and apology.
No need to apologize. Don't need.
But I was looking down at my body, and my thighs were touching. I felt the skin of my thighs touching, and it felt like I was hugging myself. I felt like somebody was comforting me, and I just started crying out of happiness. And I just remember thinking, I finally found my home. This is it, this is it. And I remember being so scared that I didn't know, when I left treatment, I remember being so scared that I had no idea where I was going and what I was doing, but feeling so safe that I was with me. And that was really powerful to me and was a turning point. I think another turning point, somebody in treatment told me that actually a celebrity of mine that I had always looked up to, that I wanted to be just like and look just like. I mean, I thought that she was perfect. I still think she's wonderful. She's done so much work too, and recovery and treatment. But somebody told me that she struggled with anorexia. And all of a sudden I remember realizing, oh my gosh, I have been constantly comparing myself to others and looking at others as perfection when every single person struggles with something. So why am I looking at other people for the answers? Part of my return to faith actually also has been learning to just trust that I was put here as I should be, and I can let go and just know that I am right. I am right as is, and we all are.
We have Esther on video. Can you introduce Esther, and production team, would you pull her up on screen? And we're going to hear from a friend or a connection. Go ahead. Want to introduce her?
Yes, sure. So here with us virtually is Esther Kwan. Esther, thank you so much for being here. Esther has recently actually gotten out of treatment. She was in different stages of treatment for about 3 years, starting just before the pandemic in 2019, I believe, right? 2019? And Esther has done so much incredible self-work for the past 3 years, and has come to the place where she has so bravely and vulnerably been able to offer her thoughts, her experience, and her soul to everybody here today, and just to others around her. She's here to share a bit about her experience as well and how she connects to this issue. Thank you so much, Esther, for being here.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? So there's a little bit of a lag, so I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to keep talking. So nice to meet everybody, and thank you so much for having me. So I had so many thoughts while I was watching the film and listening to you, because it's just shockingly like we have different lives and we've lived different lives from different communities, and yet I was like writing things down. I was like, oh my gosh, it's such a similar story to mine. And I think that's what we talked about when we first got on the phone and that's the point of this film, is look how different we are, and yet these like shared pains and wounds are so similar, and that's where we connect. And when I was in treatment, it was kind of hard watching the film, because so much of treatment, I was in residential for 2 months and then went to PHP. That's partial hospitalization. I'm not going to get into all the levels of care because that's going to confuse people. But really what I was thinking was the person that went into treatment was someone that was on the brink of death. And it was just like the poem that Alma wrote. I don't know how to live, but I don't want to die. And so that person had accumulated through 30 years of life. It wasn't one thing, as the support group leader was saying. It's not just one thing. If it could be one reason, like, oh, it's just food, it's weight issues, it's one single trauma, oh, how easy the solution and recovery process could be. When I went, I didn't think I had trauma. I didn't think that I had any issues other than food. And throughout the years, the 3 years that I worked on myself and received this treatment and received therapy and shared myself for the first time, I realized it was accumulation of intergenerational trauma, family trauma, specific ways I was brought up, ways that I was invalidated as a child. I moved as a child to a community where I didn't belong, and I lost that sense of community and connection. And really, I felt silenced. My true self felt silenced. My existence and my feelings and my experiences were all silenced. I received messages that my parents weren't happy because of me. And I love my parents so much. Specifically, my mom was in a lot of pain. So she would say, you know, I'm dealing with this because of you. And for a child to hear that, that is a lot to take on. And so I didn't understand that when I entered treatment, you know, you'd said that we were desperate for connection. Just as Alma stayed silent, she was desperate for connection. She couldn't speak up. I realized that my way of coping was, I'm desperate for connection, but I'm going to put a face on. I'm going to put a smile on, a happy face on, and make sure that everybody feels comfortable around me, because I cannot tolerate other people not being happy because of my actions and my words. And so throughout treatment, it was a journey of authenticity, a self-discovery, and you know, it was not linear by any means. Most of it was painful. And later, when health came and more connection came, that's when I saw slivers of hope. And I really felt like I am grasping in the air in the dark, and all I am doing is holding on to glimpses of hope that I have every single day. Those glimpses of hope would look like a loving message that I received from a peer, a fellow patient, or a therapist. And something that really stuck out to me that you said, Alexandra, was that treatment was a living nightmare, but my ultimate blessing. And I say that every single day. I am so thankful that I went through that living nightmare, because it gave me a chance it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I had to go through the depths of my inner darkness and everything that had led me there. And I think it's human nature to want to avoid that pain and that level of reliving trauma, reliving pain, opening it up, talking about it. But that's where healing lies. And treatment forced me there. And it was physical pain, it was emotional pain, but because I've been through all of that, there's really nothing that I cannot withstand moving forward. And I want to make it clear that eating disorder recovery, any type of recovery from mental illness, addiction, they're all related. unfortunately, eating disorders have one of the highest rates of mortality, next to the trailer and the promo said it, the opioid crisis. But what I've noticed about addiction and mental health is that it all has the underlying causes, and like it really looks the same because we're all human, but we all have different ways of coping. And for me, it just happened to be an eating disorder. And so even though I'm wonderfully 3-4 years into recovery, I don't try to fool myself or other people by saying I'm fully recovered. I still deal with body image issues. I still, they call it body checking in treatment. I look in the mirror every single day and ask myself why. Why did I just check my arms or my stomach or my legs? And that awareness is what in treatment they call the process of recovery. You are recovering if you're aware of these things and you're choosing to act differently and think differently. But they say in treatment that body image is the last to go. And so that is to give myself a lot of grace. So I was diagnosed with bulimia, orthorexia, and body dysmorphia. There are just so many things that go under the eating disorder diagnosis realm. And unfortunately, the stigma around eating disorders is there's only one or two kinds. And if I don't fit into that category, I don't have an eating disorder. And I volunteer for National Eating Disorder Association phone line right now. And we get so many people calling in saying, myself or a loved one or a family member or friend, I don't think they have an eating disorder, or I don't think I have an eating disorder because I don't throw up, or I don't starve myself, or I'm not skinny enough. And that's the danger behind it. Eating is our sole form of sustenance. And if anything is affecting the way we receive food and nourishment, and it's getting to a point where it's unmanageable, that is disordered eating, and we have to be honest about that. We have to address it, and that stigma is what's keeping people, and the fact that we don't have open conversations about this is the reason why people stay silent in their struggle. And so, that's just something that I'm so passionate about, is I'm still struggling. We are all still struggling, but I hope that we can have these conversations and understand where eating disorders come from. Mine came from a myriad reasons. It's not just food. And those myriad reasons are something we all go through and we all cope with in different ways. And unfortunately, some of those ways is food.
Esther, thank you so much for sharing. Can we applaud Esther for her sharing? Matt is going to sing a song for us that will be a great way to close our time. But real quick, I know people can follow up with you, and I don't know, Esther, if you want people to follow, but next steps.
Yes, and actually there is one concluding piece of the event that I do.
Go ahead.
I think before, if we could do it before the song.
Yeah.
So when you all walked in, hopefully you got a piece of paper, a flyer, a printout. If anyone did not receive one, there are a couple. I think there's a couple in the back of the room still. I can grab you one. We take this event, and we will be starting our big tour in September for colleges and high schools around the United States. One, as we bring our event around, if anyone is connected with a public or private school in the area that you think this event would be a good fit for, I would love anyone to reach out, help connect me with them. But we do have our big college tour coming up, and that will be to encourage this conversation, and to start helping these topics become more normalized and change the way that we receive them in high schools and colleges, because as Esther kind of alluded to, we find that they are the textbook definitions, and that just doesn't apply, and it's just not the truth. So we are bringing this event around, and as we bring this event around, at the end of the event, I invite my audiences, and I invite you all, to fill out this journal prompt. And the journal prompt that you have in front of you is designed to show yourself some compassion for something that you might do that that either you don't like or just something that you struggle with, something that's challenging. Now I invite you to sit in the discomfort a little bit of silence and filling out this journal prompt. And you have a couple of different options. You're welcome to keep your own journal prompt for yourself, but if you feel vulnerable, and this is all anonymous, I invite you, as you exit the event, to place it in the drop-off pile, and next to it, you'll find a Take Me pile. In that Take Me pile, I have prior Project Blackbird audience members' responses. They're all anonymous, and I invite you to take one of those home with you and just sit with it. Sit with somebody else. Sit in somebody else's shoes. You don't know what they look like. You don't know where they come from. You don't know their experience. But know that you're not alone. Realize that everyone struggles with something, and just hold on to somebody else. And because we are in a faith establishment, I invite you to pray for them as well. And a couple of other things in the back of the room. There's also a QR code that you can scan. And that QR code has some resources in case you or somebody that you know are struggling. Please spread this event to anybody you know. Any information that you've received today that you feel like is helpful, reach out to anybody else in your life. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at the Instagram that's listed, I believe, on the bottom of those pages at Project Blackbird Film. And then we also have, if you'd like, some rings in the back of the room. They were made by a Savannah College of Arts and Design student. They are what we bring along. They're by donation if you would like them, or you can just take one to have in your hearts. And they have 2 little blackbirds on them. I'm wearing them. 2 little blackbirds, and on the inside 2 small bees to represent Blackbird, Project Blackbird. And please find me in the back of the room. Ask me anything. I'm an open book. And thank you so much for being here today. And I invite you to now fill out the responses, and then we'll have the performance following that.
Thank you, Alexandra. As you do that, please give it up for her. Alexandra will be in the back. I'm also going to read a request, because maybe as you fill this out, this is a prayerful moment for you, but we got permission to share this from a friend of ours, a friend of the Quest. Said, please pray for the Ing and Kushner family as they navigate a mental health crisis and seek healing and hope for a path forward. Some of you might know Lauren and her husband, Daniel, but that's their request that they asked us to share with you. So we'll take a quick moment of 30 seconds. I'm going to give you silence and prayer, and then Matt is going to sing the song, and we'll close in that way and be done. God, thank you for today. Thank you for stories. Thank you for silence. Thank you for reflection. Thank you for fiction inspired by true life, that all stories have the power to impact us and bring awareness. And I pray connection and hope. As Esther said, sometimes we need to cling on to whatever sliver of hope that is. And thank you that we can be honest with who we are, with what's going on, and there's no shame. So church, receive these moments, receive this song, and may you know you're loved.
Gave us these bodies, and you called them good. You gave us these bodies, and you called them good. We are easily damaged. Have you seen the scars? That's just scratch the surface, more beneath where those are. You gave us these bodies, and you called them good. You gave us these bodies, and you called them good. May we love them inside, outside, through and through. Let us love them as you do. But we do so much damage. Have you seen the scars? We keep hurting each other. Sometimes that's just how we are. You gave us these bodies and you called them good. You gave us these bodies and you called them good. May we love them as you do. Let us love them as you do. Inside, outside, through and through. Let us love them as you do. These bodies, they are fearfully, wonderfully made. Don't believe the lies some will say. No, our flesh and bones, our hearts and hands are loved in every way. Oh, our flesh and bones, our hearts and hands are loved in every way. You gave us these bodies and you called them good. You gave us these bodies and you called them good. May we love them as you do. Let us love them as you do. Inside, outside, through and through. Let us love them as you do. Let us love them as you do.
Yeah. Will you stand with me if you are able, and let me just pronounce, you are loved. Everything about you. Your body is loved. All of the feet of you, however many you have, from 4 to 7, you are loved. Whether you're balding or whether you're flabbing or whether you're wrinkling like me in any way, shape, or form, whether you're proud of the curves or not, whether you like the shape of your nose and your fingers and your toes, you are loved as you are. And as Alexandra alluded to, you are enough, and this is your home. This is our home. I sometimes hate the home I live in. I'm aware of that, and I'm telling myself the truth that my home is good, and your home is good. So go and be blessed. You are loved. Thank you to Alexandra one more time, if we could. Thank her. God loves you, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day, everybody. Please see Alexandra in the back. Take a photo with her. Thank her, and be loved.